Unveiling, revealing what's hidden in plain sight.
Sandy.
We're doing good.
I'm good.
This is the intro. You can start it.
Welcome to the Unveiling. We have a special. This is what, the 19th episode?
19th episode.
What do we call ourselves? Webisode? Is that how that?
Just podcast.
Podcast. All right. Well, we got the 19th going on. There's been 18 before us. Hence why it's the 19th. And I'm joined here. I'm joined here with Sandy Baker. She's gonna be. What is this? Your first time, Sandy? On?
Yeah, this would be my first.
This is Sandy's first time.
We got Sandy on her first time with the Unveiling. We got Nathan Vaughn back. How are you, Nathan?
Thank God, Nathan. You completely saved us tonight.
Yes, you did.
We're really thankful you're here.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
As you can tell, things are a bit different. I don't know if you noticed the lack of a presence in the room. It's our main talk show individual person who speaks the most. I will be attempting with, thank God, Nathan Vaughn and Sandy. And, of course, we got Gage. I forgot to introduce Gage.
Yeah,
we got Gage.
Yeah, Pastor Kelley and Chip are not here tonight. They have got a ton of things to do. You know, Thanksgiving's right around the corner, so everybody's getting prepared for that. But so obviously this show is going to be a little bit different tonight, so y'all bear with us. This is our first time ever kind of taking the ship, but we do got some cool things to show and some good topics to get into. But
we're gonna be shooting for a more of a news update, if that makes sense. A little bit of articles here that we've noticed how they pertain to the Bible in some sort of fashion, or read the reason we should be watching the news. You know, a little bit of watcher material, and how they pertain to excessive spiritual warfare that's happening on the end days. And that's why I thank the Lord that we have Nathan here. He is our leading expert on spiritual warfare.
Amen.
I wouldn't say expert.
I said I was going to say expert. He's expert. He's expert too. He knows his stuff. But as far as our first news article, Gage, do you have anything pulled up right now that you would want to jump the ring on?
Yeah, I think I've been looking at some of these, and really the one that popped out to me first, and I have to be careful with how we say these things, because y'all have to fill in the blanks, and I'll do my best. I'm probably going to mess up and say something I shouldn't, but this one I thought was somewhat alarming, as while, you know, we haven't had too many, you know, breaking news or things happening with the V or the I guess I can say virus. The virus lately, you know, it's it seems like it's maybe just dwindled down a little bit. It's gotten a little better, but Austria, there was a news article that I came across when I was getting ready for this podcast that said Austria announces Europe's first nationwide vaccine mandate, and it reimposes lockdown as COVID-19 or the virus soars. So, yeah. But what stuck out to me is that they're the first Western country that is imposing the mandates for the V on all of their adult citizens. It's not an option anymore. It's just they are now mandating the V for every adult citizen, and they are going back into a lockdown starting Monday. And so, you know, while it seems like some of these things are maybe slowing down, you know, as we go into this holiday season, they may use that as a you know, excuse to maybe tighten up on some of these things. And, you know, not to mention President Biden pushed back that OSHA mandate to the beginning of January. A lot of people think that he may end up pushing it back again, but, you know, don't keep – and plus, you know, even Kelley talked about in the past couple of church services how many people she had reach out to her and tell her that, hey, you know, they're really cracking down on us on our jobs now. Yeah. What do we do? And, you know, so it's still a real threat, and it's coming. Don't let your guard down. But I thought this was an interesting article.
Yeah, I mean, it's even here in central Alabama, in the middle of nowhere, nothingness job that I have. They were talking about the possibility, you know, of these mandates, and we live in the Bible Belt of America where our governor believes in more or less. She doesn't want any government overreach, and thank God she's immediately deemed this forced mandate as a government overreach. But she's trying to put laws in front of that. Though she's for the
the V.
The V.
Jab.
the jab, though she's for the jab, she does not believe in the fact that we need to enforce it as such. Plus, she already knows firsthand that the Alabama's economy could not handle that type of situation right now. Because I don't know if you know this, but we were rough when the world shut down. Because you remember the freeze that we had. I was out in Texas when it happened initially.
Yeah. No.
But like in Texas versus Alabama, I talk about nobody on the road, froze down, nobody leaving their house, like true blue, held up in your house. That's Texas. Then I came back to Alabama. Everybody's still working, just doing their own little thing. I was like, what in the world?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember now. Yeah. When that big freeze came over Texas, and it was like a total surprise to everybody because that's never happened in Texas before. I remember.
Yeah, but I was just looking. Austria? Is that what you said?
It's the country, Austria.
Man, I just looked up because I was like, where is Austria? Click.
And, as we're going through these.
In the middle of Europe.
Yeah, as we're going through them, I just wanted to, and even with this one, in this article, it said that the way that they worded it, they had it almost as like they're putting the blame, like the reason they're doing this is because the virus is surging, and that's why they're starting this. So and you can tell by the way that they write these articles that they blame, and they want to put blame on the unvaccinated people. Yeah. And so to me, it's just more
emphasis on the division.
It's more emphasis on the division that and it's just starting back up again.
Yeah, I was just reading an article not too terribly long ago. It's talking about the fourth wave I think it was back in May. I mean, how many waves are we going to have? As many as the ocean? I mean, it's constant, just over back to back until they get all their little jabs in us. I mean, this is going to be a groundbreaking situation in Austria. I keep trying to say Australia. You're forgive me. It might be next. Maybe it's prophetic.
Well, Australia has a ton of problems themselves.
Yeah, that's why I say
communist.
That's probably why I keep trying to say it. But Austria. Keep your eyes there. Keep your eyes posted on it because if it's
and I think the thing that makes it kind of stick out is it's a Western civilized country. It's not it's not Russia. It's not one of these countries that are known for being totalitarian or anything like that. It's a Western European country, and it's the first Western European country that has mandated all of their adult citizens. I mean, it's not an option anymore. They said it went from voluntary to obligatory. That's the wording they're using.
Wow.
So
that's lockdown.
Yes, they're going into a lockdown starting Monday, and they're going to start mandating all of their adult citizens. And it is something, like to TJ's point, pay attention to that because they're not going to be the only ones.
Yeah, that's a big word. I don't even know what it means.
Obligatory. It means to obligate. You're obligated.
Okay. Obligate. Okay, that's interesting. We learn something new every day, don't you?
Yeah, but like I said, to me, it just speaks to the overarching plan of the enemy to cause strife, to cause division between not just the church and the world, but people within the church. There's just as much division in the church as there is outside the church.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. Like that. There was a preacher back in May. Remember that story? I don't know if y'all recall it. It was about that guy in Canada. I want to say it was. That was fined. Yeah, It was fined. That was in May. I mean, we're later in the year, but that was then. This is now. When's the next church coming?
So Don's commenting and said his job. You can look on the TV and see. Don's job is wanting to force them to take a weekly test to see if we're sick, starting in January. That's why I'm so interested in what's going on with the courts in OSHA. Yeah. And I am too. Originally that the OSHA mandate was supposed to be in December, the beginning of December, and then they pushed it back to January. And so I'm very interested to see what they're going to do too, because my job, although they haven't said anything yet, I wouldn't put it past them one bit to fall into that category.
Yeah, right. Your job would go right next to it. I mean, they were in bed with the government until a couple years ago. They were a government job.
Well, my husband mentioned recently that if they're not finding the companies, then they're probably going to come after the employees, and they'll have to start paying for their own testing, and that's how they're going to get you. Anyway, I'm just going to mention that.
Listen, Santa, they ain't gonna get me.
Me either.
They ain't gonna get me. I ain't paying for no weekly. Like, if you want something
Right.
done, you gonna pay for it yourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
that-
I'm
that's
not worried
Or I'm
about
walking
me.
away.
And
Right.
that's where the employers are going to get put in a rock and a hard place because they're either going to fire you or they're going to pay for you, and if they're getting, having to pay for all those tests for people, it's just only a matter of time.
Well, that goes back to me saying about what the Alabama's economy is. I mean, we're in a situation where we can't even find workers to go to McDonald's at 6 a.m. when they're supposed to open. They're 2 hours late because there's nobody to work it. So when you got that on top of the mandates, I mean, you got no one to work, no one that can work. What's that designed to do to the economy?
Yeah.
It's almost as if it's meant to happen.
Well, you know what? The fact that you bring that up to me, and I on the last couple of shows, I wanted to touch on it, but it does seem, and I've heard it from a lot of the radio hosts and the personalities and people that I pay attention to. It does almost seem like the left and the people that are in charge of this country. There's no. I mean, we make fun of them about being dumb, sleepy Joe Biden, whatever. It's almost like they are doing this on purpose. Like it's even the people that are not in the church or in Christians are even starting to realize, like, there's no way they're this dumb. There's no way that they're doing this to our country and thinking it's for the best.
Yeah.
Like, they have an agenda.
Right.
It's clear at this point.
Yes.
They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
There's no logically minded person that can think, or act in the way that they're acting, and not have an agenda where they're reading their itinerary and
Right.
thinking, how is this going to even happen? How am I going to get away with this? Here they are getting away with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
one more. I had one more article that kind of popped out at me that I wanted to talk about, and it is pertaining to the Iran and the Middle East and their pursuit for a nuclear weapon. And the article is from the Times of Israel, and it basically reads: U.S. envoy warns time is short for restoring the Iran nuclear deal. And I don't want to go too much in the weeds with it, but basically it's pretty clear, and everybody knows, the surrounding countries, the United States, anybody with sense knows that Iran wants to have a nuclear weapon. And ever since the 2015 deal that Obama signed, most people understand that really just paved the way for them to get a bomb. And then when Trump pulled this out, that slowed them down a little bit. But even since then, they're still enriching the uranium that is going to let them acquire a nuclear weapon. And anyway, long story short, without getting into the details, they're on their way. I mean, a lot of people, I've seen articles that suggest that they already have the capabilities to have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
And we all know that once they obtain that, it's just a matter of time before they use it. They've publicly said that they want to wipe Israel off the map. We all know, of Ezekiel 38 and 39, the war that's coming that hasn't happened yet. It's still supposed to take place at some time in this end time timeline.
Yeah.
Between Turkey, Iran, and Russia. Eventually they're going to come against Israel, and God will have to intervene. So and many people believe that could happen any day now. It's imminent. It could happen at any point now that they can make that move.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things in that in the Middle East and that landscape over there is lining up perfectly for it. The allies are there. The allies are coming together, and things are happening. So I just wanted to point that out, that there was an article wrote today. They're supposed to meet in Vienna to resume the talks between the Iran nuclear deal between all of the countries in the United States and Iran. But a lot of people believe that it's wasted time. They're gonna have it. They're already working on it. So, but I thought that was interesting. That it's just showing that war is coming. Let's pay attention to that, because that's definitely happening.
Right.
Yeah, that's when tiny countries start talking about nuclear capabilities. I'm like, little man syndrome. Calm down.
Well, Iran's a pretty big country compared to
Well, I mean,
Israel.
I can guarantee you it ain't as big as Texas, and that's one state of us.
I think it might be bigger than Texas. Iran's pretty large.
Is it? I gotta Google this.
But anyway, so I just wanted to bring that up. But and I felt like everybody in the news cycle, if you've listened to this show, that I know that you've heard about this Kyle Rittenhouse case, and I didn't really feel like it was appropriate for this type of podcast, but I got to thinking about it, and I think it just goes to show, although it's great, I mean, obviously, where we all stand on it, that we believe the boy was defending himself 100%.
Right.
And I'm thankful that the jurors came together and justice was served, and he was found not guilty of all 5 felony charges, which is great. It's fantastic. But I got to thinking about it, and it's still, in my opinion, just another way to cause division. As far as if you're looking at it from the big picture of things, although it's great for us, it seems like a move in the right direction as far as our
justice system
justice system in the country goes. But in my opinion, political. I think it's just another tool that the enemy is using to cause division. Also, again, even with people in the church, there's people on the left and the right in the church, and view that completely differently. I've seen videos in posts and comments and articles written. I mean, it's just a lot of people believe that there are going to be riots there tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading that. They're like, people are rioting over the fact that he didn't get thrown in jail, persecuted, and gotten the maximum life sentence for what he quote unquote did. I don't understand. The division thing blows my mind. I mean, you would think that any logical-minded person would look at the situation, watch it proceed, because we know good and well these people have not followed the trial all the way through from start to finish, seen all the evidence.
Right.
Nobody's done that. I mean, the only thing is we're actually capable of doing that. But experts, far smarter than you, people who are rioting apparently, have looked down, sat the evidence down, looked in front of it, and said, no, he has not done it.
And the thing is, they spent 4 days deliberating, so it's not like they just rushed to a decision. That's something that I thought was interesting. Is they did their job, they did what they were supposed to do, and justice was served. But like I said, it just goes to show that there's an overarching plan of the enemy in these last days to ramp up the spiritual warfare and to cause more division in this country and in the world. I mean, this is just a small case in our country. It's a big case, but it just goes to show that plan is still in work, and the Lord's coming back soon. There's no doubt about it. And the devil is working his hardest to cause division.
What I do find interesting is that with the news, they will, for some reason, pick these very specific court cases and put a huge magnifying glasses on them, and in order to divide the country even
exactly.
further.
That's exactly my thoughts.
Exactly. It's not like there's not thousands and thousands of more cases going on in the United States that couldn't be picked apart anymore. So it's very calculated, I believe, and people just have to wake up and be rational and realize that.
And not only that, it's just a total distraction from what's really important. I mean, these people, they're so invested in these court cases that's all they think about.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like a TV show,
Right.
In reality.
And
they get so invested in even that case just a few months ago with that girl that went missing, the Gabby Patino thing. People just obsess over it, and it's just another distraction. I completely agree with what you're saying.
See, I don't even know what you're talking about. That's how not distracted I am.
I don't know that case. Sorry.
So Gage is obviously distracted. All right, so back real quick. Sandy had to point out to me that I was wrong about the Iran. It is in fact 2.4 times bigger. So I take back and retract what I said.
Yeah, it's huge. It's a huge.
It is a lot bigger than my little mind thought it was. So, but to emphasize and jump on the division real quick, we're going to move on to the segment. We're done with any major news lines.
Yeah, I think that like I said, there wasn't a ton of stuff in the last couple of weeks that's happened, but those were. I mean,
we ran over last week. We ran over the 7-year peace treaty that the Pope signed.
Yeah,
right?
Keep an eye on that.
I mean,
too.
that is huge.
That's huge.
We know Trump did it, but the Pope took all of the world's religious leaders and signed peace accords with them in the same place that Trump did it. So I don't know how that ties in, but it's getting weird out there. So keep that in.
You were talking about 2019, right?
Yeah, when he signed it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But back on topic. We're going to go on to the next segment with our leading expert in spiritual warfare. What's your opinion on this amped up division that's going on, not just in the world, America, but in the entire world?
Right. Well, Satan is doing everything he can do right now to try to divide the nations, try to divide the cultures, to try to divide the races.
Amen.
Just to cause strife, just to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yeah.
But as we know from John 10:10, Jesus said, I've come to give life and give it more abundantly.
Right.
And as Gage said, we know Jesus is coming back soon.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Now we've got all kinds of scripture. 1 Thessalonians 4:16, 17, Matthew 24:44. Jesus said that in an hour you think not, he's coming back.
Right.
Paul said in 1 Corinthians 15:51 that in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, we'll be gone.
Yeah.
And Satan knows that time is getting close.
Yes,
So
he does.
he is doing everything that he can do at a rate that I believe has never been done before.
Mm-hmm. This may be a sad thought, but I don't think he has to do that much.
No, it's pretty.
I mean, the way that people have turned into, all you got to do is just let's push
Nudge them a little bit.
this little button here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just take off on their own.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But okay, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay, no problem. But going back to the time I was writing the book on spiritual warfare of Kingdom Exposed, God began to give me some dreams. It was like a series of dreams that went on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not understand what I was seeing. Maybe I should have really searched harder to find the exact meaning, but in some of these dreams, I would see stores like, you would think of a Walmart or a Target, and the shelves were empty. And I would see people just in a frantic panic trying to find food and supplies. And, this was back at a time when we had more than we could ever want.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I did not understand why the shelves were empty, but I would see people that were Christians, that trusted God. Now, every one of them would be pushing a full loaded grocery buggy. The people who trusted God had the provisions and supplies that they need, just like he promised in his word in Philippians 4:19 that I'll supply all your needs.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, and also during this time, there were some dreams where it was like I was carried up high above the earth, and I could see these huge storms. But now they were not physical storms, like we see a hurricane.
Yeah.
These were spiritual storms, but they looked just like a huge hurricane that would be, on this part of the earth, and this part of the earth, and this part.
Yeah.
And I could tell that it was demonic. And at the same time, when these storms would be passing through these areas, the people who knew how to pray and trusted God and was in their prayer closets, and I could actually see those people in their prayer closets, then they could hear the chaos going on around them. They could hear the destruction, but they were kept safe. So, I feel like now with what we're seeing, God was showing me this time. And so that has really increased my faith for this time, that we are going to be taken care of.
Right.
And even though I believe that, I still, from that time till now, I began to stock up on supplies.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I recently did the same. And
Right.
let me tell you, you get into a weird situation where I don't know, maybe it's a God thing or it's in your spirit to like stock up. Once you start stocking up, all you gotta do is start click. All right, I need that, and you walk away and you're like, wait, no, I need this too. No, I need that too. You know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
you just you collect, you
Yeah.
collect, and then when you think you have enough, you'll know. For some reason, I knew when I had enough. I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, it does, and what I begin to do, I begin to say, okay, what would I need if I didn't have electricity?
Yeah.
So if I didn't have heat, what would I need to do
What
to
can I do
survive?
without? Yeah.
What would I need to do to cook the food, and what kind of foods, and even to the point of, you can't find a can opener that will hold up anymore.
Yeah.
So buy pull tops. And if you look at what's going on right now with the employment situation, I mean, unless something changes, I may not have a job after January the 4th.
Yeah,
Right.
it is kind
Exactly.
And I drive a truck. So I understand that industry.
yeah.
And I have hauled groceries, fuel, just about everything that you can
Yeah.
haul in a truck. So I understand how a lot of these grocery stores, even like in Pinson, it takes several truckloads a day
Yeah.
to each store,
I
or
didn't
their
know that.
shelves are empty.
Right.
Wow.
Most of these gas stations, it may take a tanker load or two, or some of them even on the interstate, 7 or 8 tankers a day,
Wow.
or they would be empty.
Really?
So,
That's crazy.
yeah, just being prepared.
Right.
That's actually amazing that we've set up our infrastructure to be able to be capable of that level of delivery.
Right.
Wow.
It is.
It just goes to show you how vulnerable it
Yeah.
can be too.
Yeah.
Because
We're
even
dependable. on
fragile.
the- yeah.
yeah,
Very
and,
fragile.
and to me that's awesome, and it is such a faith builder that God was able to showed you even years ago what's happening now. Because you're right. I mean, you can go in stores. I can't tell you how many Dollar Generals I've been in, and it's like there's nothing there. What you need is not there. They may have
Right.
some stuff here and there that you don't need, but the things that you do need, you're struggling to find.
Right.
Yeah. I actually was at the bank today, and I had to ask the bank teller. I said, "Ma'am, do you shop in the city?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Are the shelves full here? Do y'all have Thanksgiving stuff? Because I got stuff I need to buy." She said, "Oh yeah. Well, I don't know about this place, but if you go to this grocery store, it does." And I'm like, thank God I was able to get my grocery shopping done. But the fact of the matter is, I had to ask.
Right.
I've never been in a situation in my 27, 28 years of life where I've had to ask, is there food on the shelves in this area?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm 60 years old, and I've never been in that situation. We've always had
Yeah.
food we
Plenty.
could go get.
Yeah.
And also, if you think about things like flashlights, lanterns, solar lights.
Yeah. That's a big thing. I actually just got some of those. I
Yeah.
love them.
Yeah. There's all kinds of things that we can do to be prepared.
Yeah.
But one of these dreams that God gave me was during this time was the rapture. Now, I don't believe it's just a coincidence that all of these came at one time.
Yeah.
And I saw in the dream, I saw the rapture take place. And I saw people vanish. They were gone.
Yeah.
And I know we are the generation that is
yeah.
going to see that take
Amen.
place.
Yeah, we believe that.
Absolutely.
And we have got to live our lives so that we are ready to go
Yes.
at a split second.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to have time to go back
No.
and get ready.
No.
Yep. Yeah.
And I hope it's tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Definitely.
I heard someone say, times are coming to an end. And I heard someone else say, well, they've always been since the day the earth was created. And I looked at him, I said, listen, you know good and well that now it's getting weird out there. And I was at the DMV today, and I was talking to some lady, and she had this big amazing story about how she was over at the healthcare clinic, and over several different departments, how she moved up for 30 years in there and then got out. And I don't know how true her story was because she was there causing a bit of a scene afterwards, but clearly she had fallen from a higher overstimulated job, and she got too much for her. And well, long story short, I was telling her how truly awful things were getting, and she was right there with me, talking about how this world and it was getting more and more vile, more and more evil, and even talking to some random stranger. Which, by the way, if you don't witness, if you don't go out and express your love and reveal that hello, Jesus is out there, the world's getting bad, there's a solution,
Right.
and if you don't talk to these people and be like, hey, there's a better way, then what are we here for? Literally, what are we here for? Having to go through this, if not that very thing that I just mentioned.
And it's such a great time.
Oh yeah, the worse it gets, it seems the easier it is to say, hey, there's hope.
Yeah, the door just almost opens up itself.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
But there's still so many people that don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
And there's so many people that are so ignorant of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say that as a
I know, I hear you.
downgrading way, but there's a friend of mine that he talks about, well, I'm going to buy this land and build this house and all this, and I keep looking at him thinking, there's not time to.
Exactly.
That was me 2 days ago. Thank you, Nathan. I just found 20 acres of land, honestly, sir. And I was thinking of getting it and building. But all right.
Well, I didn't mean to blow that out of the water, but
well, that's confirmation right there. Don't do it.
But that's the way I personally feel that we are so close on the edge of the rapture taking place and the tribulation beginning that I just don't feel like there's any time left.
Right.
Just being ready.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I completely agree. And as y'all were talking about that, it reminded me of something the Lord had kind of talked to me about, or at least dropped in my spirit. You know how He does sometimes. It was a few weeks ago, and He dropped in that parable of the talents. And I remember talking to the band about it. But now more than ever, as we see, the devil's overarching plan of causing division, and as we see that time that the Lord's coming back, moving so much closer, we need to be busy doing something. Do something for God. If you're scared to preach,
don't be, because that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly, we're all supposed to. But he put that on me so much, and I know I'm guilty of it. I could do more, but take whatever talent God give you and go do something with it. Yeah. Time is running out. Pray that God gives you that heart for the lost, because there's so many people out there, like you said, it's so true, that they have no clue what's going on. Right. And it's not that they're bad people. They just don't know. Nobody's told them.
Yeah. Right. They haven't been taught, because there's so many churches and pastors that are not teaching it.
Yes, and then so many of them are twisted up in terrible doctrine.
Yes.
And it's so sad and it's terrible. It's such a poison.
Right. Yeah. The church I'm at, I'm the Celebrate Recovery pastor there, and that's reaching out to the addicts and the drug addicts and alcoholics, and even if you don't feel like you're just the greatest speaker or the greatest communicator,
right,
just do what you can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just be you. Just tell it like.
Yeah. It says in the Bible, don't it? If you don't talk, that rock right there will. They don't say it like that, but even the rocks will cry out. And he'll use a donkey to talk to someone if he has to. I mean, how much more better are you at talking than a donkey, Sandy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're able to express yourself pretty good right there.
I figure if he can use a donkey, maybe he can use me.
Exactly. That's right. And you know what? And I'm the world's worst at witnessing, or I'm not even that big of a talker. Like, I don't. Everybody at church knows I'm up in the sound booth most of the time. I don't.
Your trademark is literally silence.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm for me to say this is it's I need to be better at myself, talking to myself just as much as anybody. But we've got to do better at telling people. And the thing that I have found out, when I have taken that step and tried to witness to somebody and talk to them about what's going on in the world, 9 times out of 10, they're glued to it. They want it. Once you start talking, and especially if you let the Holy Spirit lead you, they will. They want to hear what you're saying. They'll be glued to it, and then God will open that door for you to plant that seed.
Yeah. And that's the most important part, is being able to plant that seed, not of doubt or fear or whatever you may think that they would be receiving, but it's that bit of information that they later go home, sitting around the house. Well, then they think about it, and they're like, well, let me look that up real quick. Then they do their own research, and it blossoms from there. And then they find the information for themselves, find the truth in it, see the biblical side of it, see how it pertains to prophecy, and then next thing you know, they got this. Where's the nearest church?
Yeah, and
Fear of God.
And the thing is, it doesn't even matter if they listen. It's God's job to do the harvest. It's our job to plant that seed.
Right. Yeah.
And we've got to get out and tell people, whether they listen or not. God's gonna hold us accountable for what we know. Right. The more you know, the more you're held accountable for it. So, that's kind of what the point I was getting at earlier is he put that parable of the talents. If God's given you that knowledge, and thank God He's brought us to a place in our church that we're able to hear sound doctrine that is the truth, and I'm so thankful for that leadership. And now that we have that, it's our job, it's our responsibility as Christians to take that and to tell people about it. And I promise you, I'm preaching to myself too, because I'm terrible at talking and putting myself out there. But that's so important.
That's one thing. Well, all of us, everything we've said so far. I mean, you're always talking to yourself first before you
That's
say
true.
anything. What do you got to say, Sandy?
Right.
You haven't really talked much. The whole.
Well, I mean, today I got a little excited because I did step out of my comfort zone a little bit. And
Wait, hold on. Hold on, guys. You do not know how serious this is. Everybody pay attention online.
Oh, goodness. But, no, I went to the hairdresser, and a total stranger. I'm not one of those people that, knows their hairdresser and has them on speed dial. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
But
I do.
so I just walk into this place, and she's the only
No, I
lady
don't.
there. And it's so you're always looking for opportunities to talk about the Lord, and he just opened a door that this morning for me. So that was I hate to say it, unusual, because I'm not usually comfortable, opening up to people.
I'm right there with you.
So, but I opened up about our church, and there's a lot of connections from she knew people from that were connected to this church that are related, if that makes any sense. And I'm not going to say any names specifically over there, obviously, but and so it opened a door for me to invite her to our church, because it seemed like she wasn't going anywhere. So yeah.
Well, that's good.
That's
Sandy.
awesome.
Good job.
And sometimes it doesn't take but just listening for someone to say something, and then get that one little line in.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like maybe someone talks about the way things are today and dying, and then you get that one line in. Well, that's why you got to be ready just in case.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was talking to one guy today, and we were talking about the messed up theology, and he said, well, when you die, then you get to come back and roam the earth till you get your life back right again. I said, no.
What?
I said, no. Luke 16 says that the rich man died, and in hell he lifted up his eyes.
Yeah.
And it said that Abraham died, and he was carried to paradise.
Yeah.
I said, the Bible says nothing about roaming around on the earth, getting your life together. I said, you go to where you're going.
Yeah. To be
by
absent from the body is
to be present with the Lord.
Right.
Right. So, we could just take advantage of those situations when they come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
It really, because honestly, it'll be like a little scratch in the back of your head the whole time, all night, next week,
I
2
should have
months
said
from
this.
now.
I should have said that.
Yeah.
And
I
then
hate
next
those
thing
moments.
you know, you blew up a whole conversation in your head, and you're just like, next time.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's not a next time.
No,
Sometimes
no.
that's your
That's
only
not.
time to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? To that
So-
point, and I'm about to I'm about to embarrass myself, and I can't believe I'm about to tell this, but
Yeah, I like this.
on that point, how you're saying that there may not be another chance. Okay, it's also so important to take those opportunities that the Lord gives you, and don't squander it, because and not just the fact that you're trying, but here's something that happened to me the other day. I was buying something on Marketplace, okay, and to keep the not to bore with the details, I met the guy. Okay, we did the transaction, fine, but he witnessed to me. Before I could witness him, he witnessed to me. He said, and he opened it with this. He said, "Would you go to church anywhere down there?" And I said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, cool." I told him about a new church, and we're excited about that and everything. Anyway, long story short, he got to talking to me about what I believe. Okay, what it takes to be saved, and whether or not you can stay saved, once saved, always saved. He went down that path. Okay, and so he believed once saved, always saved. Okay, and we preach all the time. Kelley, and I hope Kelley is not listening, because the point that I'm trying to get to is the fact that I knew I debated him, and I talked to him about it, and I told him what we believed, and I pointed to a few scriptures and talked to him, but I was nowhere near as prepared as I needed to be for that conversation.
Was it via messenger?
No, I was face to face with the guy.
Face-to-face.
Oh,
Because I met him.
Oh, no.
And that, the point that I'm getting at is, it embarrassed me, and it put something in my heart.
Yeah.
It convicted me is what it did, because I knew that this is what I do. We talk about this all the time. This is something we preach about, and I know the truth. I know what the truth is, and I know that if I go back through my notes and stuff, I can do it. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's Paul or somewhere in the New Testament
Supposed
says
to be in your heart.
be instant. In season and out of season, whether it's convenient or not, be ready to stand up and give an account for what you believe in. And in that instance, I was unprepared.
Yeah.
And so it's just as important not only to take advantage of those opportunities that God gives you to witness to people, but be prepared to be prepared yourself to be able to, because there's so many people, especially where we live, that know just enough of the Bible to argue with you about it. And like I said, most of the time their doctrine is so twisted and messed up that it's like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming to try to untangle it all in front of them. But you got it's just so important to know the Bible, read your Bible. That's what I'm getting at. Is I need to spend more time not just reading the Word, studying the Word, putting it in my heart, putting it in my mind, so that when those opportunities come up, then the Lord and the Holy Spirit will come up, and I'll know exactly what to say. And I didn't do terrible. I told the guy the truth, and I think I made the dent, but I was not as prepared as I needed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how many times do we feel the Lord telling us in that moment of witness, and He tells us to do something that is just totally out there, just totally crazy? I heard a story about this Indian man that, believe it or not, owned a convenience store. and he was watching TV, and he just happened to come across this Pentecostal preacher on the TV, and this man said, "Well, all right, God, if you're real, if you really exist, have somebody come in and stand on their head by the Coke cooler."
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. So about the time he said that, the door opened. This man walked in, didn't say a word, went over to the Coca-Cola cooler
Oh my gosh.
and stood on his head.
Wow.
I would
And-
at this
Wow.
point.
And he's the man that stood on his head. He said all of a sudden he heard this Indian man going, "He is real. He is real. God is real. God is alive." That quick God answered that prayer. Now, if that man had not
Obeyed.
and did the most ridiculous thing that
Yeah.
he could think of to do,
Yeah.
if he had not did that, that man might have not been saved.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, how many times does
That's that don't happen. But everybody's seen. I don't know if anybody's seen. I'm just going to assume everybody has the video that aired on Facebook circulated the web, got real popular, about the woman that was crying. She couldn't compose herself very often. And through the cries, she's explained that she was passing by this house and she heard God say, "Go get some milk." Hey, has anybody heard this?
No,
Yeah,
I
think
haven't.
I've heard
I haven't heard
parts
it.
of it. But
Go get this milk and give it to that address right there. Just driving down the road, go get some milk, give it to that address. And she's slowed down. She looks at it. It don't look like it was. The yard wasn't that bad. It wasn't crazy. She was like, some milk. Kind of, what in the world? I'm on the way to get groceries right now. I'm going to get milk to some random place. I mean, she was fighting it in her head, and then she went to go get groceries, got it, came back, and passed it again on the way out. But this time, she had went on ahead and prepared to buy the milk. You know, she took that. You know what? Just in case, I'm gonna get it. And she pulls up, and she's fighting herself in the car. She's parked there. She's like, "What am I doing? I'm about to go to some random house right now. Now I'm going to innocently just give them milk and then walk away, and that would be it." And so she was like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
See, can you imagine how that would feel at that point? I mean, not a big deal. I mean, it's not as weird as going into the gas station and flipping on your head.
20 seconds of insane courage.
Yeah, well, she went in there and she said, she said, I have some milk. The Lord told me to give you some milk. Here you go. And then that woman, I think if I remember correctly, it was a woman with a baby, and that woman immediately broke out in tears. And she said, "I had been praying. I can't provide for my milk for my baby anymore. I stopped breastfeeding also. And there was nothing I had to do. My bills overtook all my money. I had no way of getting it, no way of providing the substance that my child needed." And she was low on other things, and they got to talking. And now that mother's faith grew exponentially because she, her child, and this woman was blessed. And then she put out that video, and millions of others got blessed from it. So one simple act of obedience and sacrifice runs exponentially deeper than either one of those individually. And when the Lord tells you to do something, like talk to someone, and you have that opportunity, because let me tell you this is not something you are obligated to do. This is something you get to do. This is something that you are able to do and get to. It's a blessing to tell somebody else about the Lord. It is not I don't want to do it. No, this is an opportunity
you're
to talk to further and explore everything God has to offer. Because you obey one time, you do one thing that the Lord said. The next time He blesses you, and you do something more, and then you do it again, and you do it again.
It becomes easier and easier.
And it becomes easier, and you become more empowered in Jesus. Next thing you know, you get a stick, and you hit a rock, and water comes out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get more and more blessed.
Well, there was one time back many years ago that, believe it or not, that I was very shy, wouldn't hardly say anything. Now people have a hard time getting me to shut up, but but this was back during that time, and I was learning. I was still trying to figure out how to hear God back then. And I remember I had pulled up to a Chevron Food Mart in Decatur, and I could still see the woman that was outside, propped up against a building, smoking a cigarette. And I'd came out, got back in my vehicle, and I know Holy Spirit said, "Go tell that lady I love her." And out of fear, I didn't do it. Now, this has been 25, 30 years ago, and I've never forgotten it. I don't, did that woman not, what happened?
Yeah.
She was supposed to know that God loved her, and I didn't tell her.
Yeah.
So I tried, ever since then, I tried to make sure to listen and to obey.
Yeah. Missed opportunities are just missed opportunities. To us, it's something we should have done that we didn't, but to them, it could have been life-changing, soul-changing, and eternal damnation avoided. You understand? I mean, we could not emphasize it more. I couldn't. I was really hands off. I don't know. I might have a very outgoing personality, but I'm equally shy. And 9 times out of 10, I don't want to talk to people. I mean, I'm not silent like Gage, but I am very much in a mood of I don't want to deal with people. And that stems more from my laziness. But now I actually enjoy like conversating with people, and I didn't realize how much I did until I started doing it.
Yeah,
So you don't know until you start doing it, where you're like, wow, this is actually
pleasant.
this
right?
is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Human contact and speech. So wow, this is great.
Yeah.
To
To add to that, I had a kind of a similar scenario with that when I was first getting saved. And sometimes when you look at people and when God's telling you to go speak to them, because a lot of times God will put a burden on your heart for that person. Like like I remember one time I walked into a gas station, and there was this guy back working the counter, and I could tell. You could just look at somebody and tell, man, they need something. They need encouragement. I felt sorry for him. My heart went out to him just by looking at him. You know what I mean? And I knew that I was supposed to say something to him, or God told me to just tell him something, check on him, ask him how he's doing, tell him about God, tell him God loves him, something. And out of fear, the same way, I didn't do it. I was like, nah, that's just me. But that obviously, if I still remember that to this day, I still remember that face that man was making. That I was supposed to say something. And I think a lot of times that interaction, especially as a young Christian, is more just as much for you and to build your faith as it is to reach out to somebody else that's lost.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, the more you do it, God gives you those opportunities because we need to reach out to the lost, but He also gives you those opportunities to build your faith and to grow in Him too.
There you go.
And because God has other people, I'm sure somebody at some point God kept dealing with them. God has His people to reach out to people. So
rocks and donkeys.
That was something that I was thinking about just now. Is a lot of times those interactions are just as much, if not more, for you than the people that you're reaching out to.
Right.
And one thing you can think of also is when you say, "Well, Lord, is that you telling me to do that?" Well, you can say Satan's sure not going to go tell you to tell him God loves him.
Show love to the guy.
Yeah. And I was just thinking the same. He's like, is that me? I'm down. That's just me. I'm like, Gage, you're not that nice of a person.
I know.
I was like, what?
Well, you look. It's real easy to convince yourself that it's you and not God when you're in that situation.
Yeah. And the easiest person you can lie to in this world is yourself. That even says in the Bible, don't trust your heart's the best liar.
Look, y'all don't believe it. We're 52 minutes in.
Wow.
We did pretty good, huh?
Pretty good.
Not bad.
But,
well, I mean, we're out of any type of news articles, correct? Nothing's popped up in the last.
is there anything else y'all want to
50
cover? Okay. I was going to say, we didn't mention at the beginning, and I think it's out there enough that we can start to talk about it, that we are moving churches. We're acquiring a building and moving, from the place we are now. And so that I was going to say that, so over the next few weeks, there may be times, between moving church buildings and stuff. I don't know if we'll get to a podcast. We may can still squeeze it out. But I was just going to say it's super exciting. So if you, anybody that's listening to us that don't have a home church or that, has visited our church before, come back, come help us. It's an exciting time, in our church growth, because there's tons of work to be done, and it's a good time for us to grow and bond as a family together. And I'm really excited about that part of it, building this church together. And so, I was just going to say, if you don't have a church, come visit us or come join us.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying maybe in beginning of next year that we're fully out of this one. So
yeah,
it'll be a slow roll.
Yeah, we're in Trafford now, but we're only moving to Locust Fork, which it's 10 minutes down the road.
15 minutes.
10 minutes down the road. So, but that's exciting.
It's very exciting. It's actually super exciting, and I thought we were going to be doing it in 3 weeks rather than 3 months. So that kind of blew. And I was like, well, that sucks. But anyways, that's how excited I was. I was like, 3 weeks, yeah, just do it every day.
there's a lot of
Let's take off work.
I don't care, work all night.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done, but it's work that's very doable, and I don't think it'll take as long as we think.
Yeah. I mean, like Gage said, if you've ever been to the church, I'm sure we'll have a sign or something that says we've been relocated. Hopefully with the address on it. But you probably, and I'm hoping that you hear from us by the fact that we moved, because we get to a new location, we're gonna amp up the spiritual warfare over there, get it fixed up, clear it up, and raise up and elevate everybody. We're gonna dust off the dust of the land. You know what I'm saying?
So in other words, if you're an electrician, if you're a plumber,
if
you're a construction worker, we need
topic.
you. Come help us out.
Exactly. If you know how to hang sheetrock, we got ceilings that we're trying to figure out what to do.
If you're a painter,
with
we need some
flooring.
painters.
We got everything. If you're a natural Vincent Van Gogh, call us up. All right, that concludes the 19th podcast, not webisode. I was about to say webisode. Podcast. And join us next time.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan.
Yes.
And thank you,
I enjoyed
Sandy.
it. Thank you.
Lifesaver Nathan and Sandy.
Y'all helped. I'm telling you right now, there's no possible way we could have done this with just the two of us.
Me and Gage are just staring at each other. Are you
Took all of us working together.
Yeah, exactly. It would have lasted about 6 minutes.
Yeah. It really would have. Anyways.
Awesome. Glad to help.
Appreciate having you guys.
Thank you.
All right, as usual, like, share, subscribe, and comment. We do need the exposure, if you will. Thank you, Weston, Jamie, Don, especially Don. You made some very good valid points. I loved every one of y'all's comments. Saw every one of y'all's comments, and I appreciate y'all doing that.
Jamie.
Keep it up. Don't stop on our accounts. Keep on doing that. I love it. Keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Join us next week on the Unveiling. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm shaking over here. It's so cold.